Hello and welcome back to the Shawl Letter Unplugged. I am Sita and I am still in India and I've been MIA for a couple of months. So yes, I think I should take off the glasses if I can for a while. I've been in India now for 5 months and I've been doing a lot of work while I've been here. I am a tour guide while I'm in India. I've taken 2 really wonderful tours, very different, both of them, and very exciting, and a lot of hard work. But I do love sharing my experience of India, and I think the people who come with me, they get a real deep insight into everyday life, into what I would call the real India, not just the tourist attractions or the fancy hotels, but the street life, the family life, and mostly the craft, actually. I must apologize for my rather terrible hairstyle today. I'm in Jodhpur and it is really hot. I've got 3 weeks left of my trip before I go back to South Africa, and even though it's only the beginning of March, the temperature is already around about 37 degrees centigrade today and climbing. So if you hear some whirring sounds in the background, in this lovely Haveli where I've been staying, I have a few fans to keep me cool, and right now I even have a damp cloth draped over my shoulders, which I find to be the best way to keep cool, and I've just wet my hair and tied it back. So I'm not looking my best, but you know, that's part of being in India, just being a bit real. And I will now have to take a sip of my ice cold water. You can see I love orange. I got this really lovely water container sent to me by my daughter, and she had this lovely engraved on it. I love it when your kids know exactly what you like. Anyway, today I want to say that the word knitting just makes me break out in a sweat. So there's not going to be any knitting today, although there has been a lot of knitting that I have done in India up until maybe the middle of January. But I'm not going to show you that. I will probably only show you my knitted projects when I get back to South Africa, beginning of April. What I'd like to talk to you about today is something that's a very deep passion of mine, and that is Indian textiles. I am actually a textile designer, and I love textiles. I love printed textiles, woven textiles, hand-stitched embroidery, anything to do with fiber and textiles is my bag. And what I'm doing right now, mostly because there's not very much else I could do in this heat, I'm doing some embroidery. And that has been very much inspired by some beautiful textiles that I've encountered on my trip in India. So what I would like to do is actually turn the camera around, and I'm going to roam around a little bit around my room and show you some of the textiles that I have, and then as the inspiration to what I'll be doing, I will show you that as well and tell you all about the process. So let me do that right now. So here we are, and I'm starting off with this amazing piece of fabric that is like a painting. It's an antique piece of layered cotton that has been stitched with what is known as Kantha stitch, or basically just a short running stitch, and many pieces have been patched together, as this piece is old and well worn, and the stitches are literally holding the fabric together. Here we have another piece that's lying here. I'm actually going to make a coat out of this. I'll show you a coat that I bought out of a new piece, but this again is also an antique piece. And as you can see, it's very, very well worn. All the layers are coming through. The purple is the cloth underneath the grey, and there's a bit of red shining through. And then there's a little patch that's been added on top, and it all adds to the incredible beauty and depth of this Kantha textiles. This just happens to be my woven carpet, which is really lovely. Now I'd like to show you this coat that I bought. This is a new piece of Kantha, and it looks like a patchwork, and it is slightly patched, and it has the long running stitch, and it's been printed. So this is a commercial print. It's not a hand print, but it all lends itself quite beautifully with the running stitch. Over here is another beautiful piece. This is a very old piece as well, with the Kantha stitch and some stitch designs. Absolutely incredible work. I mean, you cannot imagine how long this piece would take to make. Lovely, very obvious patching, and a bit of bugaroo print, known as bugaroo print, on this side. Then the reverse is quite different, but still has the running stitch all over. And here's another lovely big floral patch, and a blue patch that's been added just for texture and to preserve the textile. So this piece could be about 30 or 40 years old. I really don't know, but it is. It's been around for a while, and it is layers of cotton that are held together by the stitches. Here's another one of my favorite pieces. And you will see that the reverse side is very, very beautiful dark purple with the running stitch, and then some other embroidery here in this red and green that runs throughout, and this beautiful border of the fabric. So this is a bed throw. It's a double bed throw, rather large piece, and just totally stunning. I mean, I just cannot get enough of these textiles. They inspire me so much that it has once again led me to embroidery. Embroidery is not too much of a foreign idea. I've spent many years embroidering, and in fact any kind of hand needle fiber textile craft I've had a try. I weave as well, and I spin yarn. Here, just lying next to that, this is a really lovely, very lightweight silk scarf that is also stitched with the Kantha, and it's a beautiful lightweight scarf, and just happens to be here on the same bench is this lovely, very local plastic shopping bag that I use for my shopping. So these are just a few of my inspirational pieces that are around my room, and very soon will have to be packed up. And but right now they're all very inspiring. I am going to make another one of these garments. You can see the wrong side of the fabric. It just has the stitching. And then here on my bed, on my little stitching nest, is a piece that I've claimed for myself as my own bed cover. Very lovely, quite in very good condition. There are some patches, and this is the other side. Also, again, Kantha stitched from Bengal. And then next to it, we have this very, very old piece of indigo dyed bugaroo print. That's a type of printing that's done with a mud resist in India. And then it is stitched on top. So you can probably get an idea of the top stitching in the white circles, in the lighter circles. It's very fine. very, very finely stitched. But it's a gorgeous piece, and I am actually going to use this for an upcoming workshop that I'm going to be giving in South Africa, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Now I'm going to sit down and I'm going to show you what I'm busy doing. So here I am, I'm back. Unfortunately, I do have to wear my glasses if I'm going to be showing you the pieces and holding them up. I can't really see that well. I've got windows opposite me and they're reflecting. So if I look down, it's fine. But I'll do my best. Maybe I'll lift them off until I absolutely have to wear them. So I have been inspired by all these wonderfully stitched textiles. There has also been a really beautiful textile exhibition running in Jodhpur, where I am at the moment. Stitching, hand-stitched textiles, absolutely magnificent. If you would like to see some of these, I think if you go and look at my Tribal Bling Instagram account, I'll link that below, you will be able to see some of them. And they were very, very inspiring. Some of them incredibly detailed, all sorts of different types of stitching, lace embroidery, wow, magnificent work. Anyway, while I was on my last tour, I realized that I would be coming back to Jodhpur for 3 weeks, and that the temperatures were going to be rising daily, and that I would not be knitting. I would not want to knit, and I also don't feel inspired to take out my loom. You know, the least energy I have to expend, the better. So I decided to take out the Kantha pieces that I'd bought, and I had to wash them first, and they're very delicate. So my landlady gave me a huge big basin, plastic basin, which I washed each one individually, and I decided to start working on this indigo dyed bugaroo print piece. This is this piece. This is the one side. That's what it looks like. That's the resist print. It's a double-sided print. Very, very involved. I couldn't begin to tell you how it's done because I haven't actually watched it being done, but I know that it's quite involved. And this is the other side. Now I'm going to bring it close up, and you can see tiny little stitches running throughout this textile. So this is a very large piece, and even when I washed it, the indigo color still continues to slowly bleed out of the fabric. This could be 20 or 30 years old, this fabric, and it's a very large piece which would be suitable as a bed cover. Here is some of the original colors that were in the one side of the textile. Just very subtle sort of rainbow stripes, as it were. And I think there are also some patches that have been sewn on. You know, there are things like this where it's joined, it's been joined very obviously and very beautifully. You know, we are not trying to hide anything on this textile. In fact, we're trying to show every kind of imperfection we possibly can, which is the beauty of it. So to start off with, it is 2 layers of fabric, which is then stitched continuously in straight lines with very fine thread in a continuous running stitch known as Kantha stitch. That would hold the 2 layers together and give it a beautiful texture. It would be used that way as a cloth in the home, to sit on, to cover up with. It might have originally been pieces of a sari that were recycled. Nothing is really wasted here. And eventually, as it started to wear, it would be patched. And with whatever came to hand. There wouldn't be any of the original fabric. It could be a totally different color, as you've seen on the pieces I've shown you, and it just lends to the absolutely incredible beauty. The first piece that I showed, which, let me just grab it again. This is almost a quilt. In my mind, this is an unintentional quilted masterpiece of patches. The whole piece is made up of patches. Now that would not have been done for decorative purposes. It would have been done to keep the fabric together, to hold it together, the layers. Look at that. All beautiful, absolutely stunning pieces of work. And here in this blue section, the blue is actually where the top layer of fabric has worn away and shown the underlayer. It's a painting. I can't believe how absolutely beautiful it is. And then this would be the reverse side, where there's not much patching, a little here and there, but on the front, all the pieces have added to the absolute beauty of it. So I have in my possession a really lovely bag that my dear friend and tailor, Tara, made for me a while back. And that is made with some of these pieces of Kantha fabric. And I took inspiration a lot from this work, and I decided that I was going to spend a bit of time practicing some of my Kantha in preparation for a workshop that I would like to offer, that I am offering when I return to South Africa. So that will be in May, and I've called it Sacred Stitches, and various reasons. These are sacred pieces of cloth. They will last forever as long as they are looked after. The stitching is a total meditative process. It takes forever. There is no desire to get to the end of it. It's a presence process. And in doing this kind of stitching, one does just totally disappear into the stitches. I've been doing my piece now, I've been working on my piece now for 3 days, and I've been documenting it day by day. So you can also see that on my Tribal Bling page, as it's very interesting to see the beginning and then every day how it grows. So this kind of work is totally intuitive. It's not a process that's planned or mapped. It's a color play and a textural exercise of building up the cloth as best as you can. There are certain stitches that I will teach the stitches as well, but it is really a very beautiful, deep, meditative process with the fantastic outcome of a gorgeous piece of textiles that I just can't stop looking at and will give me so much pleasure. So I'm working on a small square, which I'd like to show you. So that's the bugaroo print that I showed you initially with the dots. And this is what my working piece is starting to look like. So it's a complete free form of stitching. I'm merely using most of the stitches that I know, and I'm actually learning some new ones. And as I place them, it becomes evident where the next section should be. And like on this corner, I just started this today, and you'll see that they're running stitches in both directions. The tiny navy blue stitches are the original stitches of the cloth, and then in the opposite direction there's some pink and red stitches, and there's still open space there. That's not a completed area. This area here, I'm still going to work on top of it, not exactly sure how. And then in the center, I think I've pretty much dealt with this piece. I have got 2 layers of running stitch going in different directions, and then all sorts of different chain stitch, blanket stitch, satin stitch, back stitch, all worked on top and around. And then there's still these areas that still have to be finished. And this will turn into a little pouch that will hold my sewing needles, threads, and various things like that. I will line it with another piece of cloth that will also have Kantha stitch on it. So this at the moment is my daily practice, and that is what I wanted to share with you. It makes it possible for me to be productive in very, very hot weather. I have all my doors and windows closed, and I am lucky enough to have a very cool space in this very old stone haveli, and very high ceilings, and there are 4 ceiling fans in the space. It is large, and that keeps me cool. So I can sit here and I can work away, and before I know it, it's lunchtime, you know. And then before I know it, it's dinner time, and I'm completely absorbed in the stitches, and I feel very peaceful, very calm, very grateful for this process, and for my hands to give me the opportunity to create. So if you're interested in stitching, I would like to try and perhaps do a couple of videos, teaching videos of the stitches, but you know, I don't really have very sophisticated equipment, or any equipment basically besides my phone, for showing these kind of things. So it's very difficult, and I do prefer in-person teaching. I do quite a lot of that. So if you're in South Africa and you're interested, I will be teaching in the middle of May in the Western Cape in Stanford, and you'll be receiving all the materials that you need. Let me just show you what I'm using. I'm using at the moment simple embroidery threads, either in their full thickness or broken down into 3 threads, and a variety of different needles, embroidery needles. Some of them are very long. These are the long ones. Whoops. Right now I'm working with a little bit of a shorter one, and that's about it. That's the materials you need. I have a marker pen if I want to draw designs out and then stitch over that. And I don't work on an embroidery frame, but you can work with an embroidery frame, and let your imagination run wild. So I invite you to get into a bit of stitching if it takes you, and don't worry about if you're good at the stitches, or you know, if the line is straight. You're going to be working in many, many layers, and at the end you're going to end up with a tapestry of absolute beauty, of rich colors, and something that'll give you a lot of joy. You could even do it on an existing garment, you know. You could do it on a jacket, a piece of denim, even on a shirt collar. Just add a little detail, some flowers or cross stitches. It doesn't have to be anything. You don't have to be able to draw, although you can pick up images from the internet. But just let your imagination run wild and have a wonderful time. So that's my offering for today. Nothing about knitting, sorry to say. But I do actually have some lovely, lovely, beautiful shawls and silk garments as well that I've knitted. But I can't touch them today, I really can't. And I will show you those at a later stage. So thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to showing you what I've done, and when this piece is finished I will show you as well, and we will get into all the knitting pretty soon. I'm going home to winter, and right now I do know that I have a friend bringing me some wonderful yarns from the UK, which I can't actually get in South Africa, so I'm very excited about that. But right now my excitement lies totally in the stitches. So happy crafting, everybody. I hope you feel inspired by this, and keep watching. And as I said, watch my Tribal Bling Instagram and you'll see the day-to-day process of this piece of work. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.